Sophie Ellsworth joins me, and Deputy Executive Director of the Institute of Public Affairs, Daniel Wild. Well, Daniel, we talked about those rumours in relation to negative gearing last week. We know we've got family trusts absolutely on the table, negative gearing again this week. Now there's talk about removing the discount in relation to capital gains taxes. PM asked about this, dances around it. This is his now game. Have a listen.
Well, we've entered the twilight zone officially now. What we have before us is real legislation, and what we have now is the Shadow Treasurer asking for details about things that are only happening in his head, Mr. Speaker. They're only happening in his own conversations.
Order.
With himself.
You know better than me, mock humour, bluster, when they don't answer the question in a straightforward way, you know it's on the table.
Exactly, Peter. As we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, there's no doubt that all of these tax changes and tax hikes are on the table. And what is becoming abundantly clear is that this is turning into a very old Whitlam-style tax and spend government. They believe that you can only make one group of Australians better off by making another group worse off. It's a very divisive economic agenda. We know they have a divisive cultural agenda. We saw that with the voice to Parliament. 60% of Australians voted no, including, by the way, 40% of Labor voters who voted no on the referendum. And as we discussed last week, where's the leadership for the future of the nation? There's no discussion about economic growth. If you grow the economy, everyone's better off. You also get more revenue as a government, so that helps the budget bottom line. And there's no discussion about spending restraint. For example, their goal with the NDIS is to limit it to 8% growth. That's their ambition. So you've got spending growing at 8%, the economy growing at 3%. You've got a problem. So they're doing the lazy tax grab politics, and I think they're reverting to a very old-style Whitlam government rather than a Hawke uniting government.
And just on negative gearing too, I mean, if middle to low-income Australians are going to get $14 a week from this tax cut change, we know with negative gearing, nearly 90% of people own one place. And we also know that most of them, 75% now, are on average earnings. So this isn't the top end of town. This is policemen, nurses, teachers, those sorts of average income earners putting away something for a nest egg.
That's right. It's Joe the plumber and Mary the nurse that are saving for their retirement. Some of them won't have any super if you're self-employed. You might not have any super, and they're, in doing so, taking pressure off the pension system by funding their own retirement. There is potentially an argument around if you have 3, 4, 5 houses, well, OK, let's talk about that. But as you say, if you've got one investment property that you bought 10, 20 years ago, why are you in the firing line? This is the aspirational Australians that this government seems to be going after.
And notwithstanding the states who are going after them with land tax grabs, particularly in Victoria.